SGC here, and we're back with a movie review. Mockingjay Part 2. So directed once again by Francis Lawrence, the guy that did all the Hunger Games except for the actual Hunger Game. I really don't know who's actually new in this film, so check down below. So what's it about? Peeta trying to be reformed, trying to figure out what's happening to him, and then they're like, okay, everything that we're working for, we have to hit the Capitol where President Snow is, and they go in and they do their thing and people get liberated and freed and happy ending galore. And that's basically the entire film. So what did I think? Well, to me, this is a high production student film. Like literally. But before I get any further than that, I will say there are things I actually liked in this film. First off, Peeta. I mean, how they played him off in part 1, and now he's showing up in part 2 for the whole film, and for his struggle where he's just battling against, I need to kill Katniss, or no, I love her, and all these extreme emotions, is a very interesting character. And also, the beginning 5 minutes of this film was also pretty cool, in the sense where Katniss lost her voice because of something happened to her throat because she was almost killed, and she can't speak, and it's like, whoa, this girl, this entire franchise exists because her sister and her ability to rally up the troops sort of thing, and she can't talk. Like, what is she gonna do? And sadly enough, you know, that was the first 5 minutes, and her voice comes back, and it's nothing new. Like, goes back to normal Katniss of whatever she's been doing this entire franchise. So it's just like, oh, you had something there, but you didn't go along with it. I don't know how it compares to the book. I mean, how long did that sequence of her not being able to talk, how long did that last? I don't really care, because I mean, you are an adaptation of a book. You could have made it more interesting if she had to talk to like some of the key people, and they'll be like, oh my goodness, you can't talk, don't talk, but you're seeing the struggle. Like, wow, that would have been some pretty cool characterization. What else is cool? That sludge thing, that was pretty cool, and then that subway corridor, and then lights were coming out. So the games factor of games existing in the city as they're like storming the presidential house, that was cool. But again, there was only 2 sequences of it, and they made the entire city a game, and there's only 2 sequences of it. Like, what's up with that? There's a lot of stuff that I had a lot of issues with. Like, yes, I am biased. I am not a diehard Hunger Games fan. I did not read book 2 and 3, but I have seen the original Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and part 1. So I am there for the movies, and I don't remember exactly what I said about those 3 films, but I think I enjoyed it for what it was. Part 1 was like kind of a drag, but it wasn't as bad as this one. Like literally, I checked my watch 30 minutes in, and I couldn't believe that it was only 30 minutes in, and I was just dying for the film to end. Because for some reason, the narrative, the line delivery, the pacing, and everything was just horrendously bad. In a sense where, yes, I understand the whole war issue is to be solemn and like just really trying to be more realistic. That, yes, less action portrays war better, because it's not all about the action here. But I mean, we did that with part 1. You know, part 1 is where we dealt with all that. A lot of characterization, personality stuff, how they're gonna deal with this thing that they're like exposed to the world, this war and this rebellion. And then part 2 is like, you gotta spice it up a bit. I mean, sure, you're not pandering to audiences, what have you, but when you do have action, it's so lackluster and just half-assedly done that it could have gone further. And the biggest issue I have here is that they had this ragtag TV crew with Natalie Dormer heading that, and they weren't really developed in part 1, and I was like, okay, because there's part 2, these guys would be developed. They're not. And people left and right sort of died and stuff, and you're just like, I don't care. Like, you all know how I have gripes about setups, and if the setup is bad, the conclusion is just, I don't care. Like, literally, when people died here, I just didn't care. Like, there's this one major character that actually dies, and you're just like, oh my goodness, she died, like, whoa! And that's only because she spawns this entire franchise. It's because of her. And that sort of weight has that. But within a part 2 film itself, You can't have a character who shows up in the first 10 minutes and then disappears and shows up at the last, I don't know, 15, and then she doesn't even have a lot of screen time, and then bam, she dies. Like, there is no weight. There's no depth. Like, give her more lines or give her more screen time. Remind audiences and all that. I mean, sure, the director could be just like, I just want to adapt the book. And if that happens, it's like maybe there's more lines with that. But, you know, just do more things with it. I can't say I can compare it to the book, because I can't, because I haven't read it. But I'm just saying, as a film, she would have been made like a bigger sacrifice. You can connect with Katniss better when she's like, oh my goodness, this loss is so huge in my life and all that. Like, the build up to the actual thing could have been so much better. And also, Liam Hemsworth's character Gale was such, I don't know. Like, it's so hard to watch him here, that he's so different. Part 1, Part 2. Time doesn't pass that fast, or I'm not led to believe that years or what have you pass. So his character change from Part 1, Part 2 is like very jarringly hard to accept. And then when he becomes a stone cold killer and all that, it's just like, ugh. And then the holy crap scene of the entire film is when they're at this basement and Katniss is pretending to sleep, and then Gale and Peeta has this conversation about kissing, and it's just like, man, we know this book is from a YA book, but don't, like, you know, stuff it in our face that much, like, But then again, I am clearly not the audience for this, so there's my gripes and my bias. But at the same time, it's like, you could have done it more, you know, realistically, in the sense, write the lines better, deal with it differently. It's just that, I don't know, it was just hard to watch. Like, this movie was really hard to watch. And it's really surprising, because, I mean, Part 1 was not this hard, and Part 1 had a lot more dialogue. It was more character-driven, rather than, oh, this game thing. Really, I think the biggest factor for me as just a strictly movie Hunger Games guy is that all the cool things from Hunger Games is gone. We don't have games. We don't have Woody Harrelson, Elizabeth Banks, or even Stanley Tucci, who was just great. Like, I felt that the tone of the entire series changed, and I get that, because, you know, Hunger Games is sort of like the one game, second one's like the anniversary, so there's all these winners playing, and then the third one's like the rebellion. And I think, to even tie it to some huge franchises, is that it's the same thing that happened with Harry Potter, where the schooling sort of disappeared by book 7, and it just became this Horcrux thing, and it's just like, oh, that shift in tone is very jarringly different, and all the cool stuff and all the great stuff that was done well was all gone, and that's it. I don't know what to say. Like, it's just sad that this is how the franchise is gonna end, or actually it doesn't end, because I mean, Lionsgate is trying to put up some prequels, and they can pretty much BS anything they want, because there are no prequel books, but the games are inferred, and I mean, I don't know, I think I will probably check it out to see how they're going to play around with these games, because I would totally not mind if Hunger Games 4 is a prequel and it was just strictly a Hunger Game, because Seed of Survival, like, could it go back to Woody Harrelson saying, hey, that's an idea, Woody Harrelson's game. That would be pretty interesting. People would watch it. He's a pretty cool character and all. Or even Finnick. That would be interesting as well, because you know all the fangirls going for Finnick. So yeah, all in all, it was a hard film to watch. Very high production, but a student film. Bad dialogue delivery, setups were horrible, characters were just thrown in, and it's just like, who cares? There's a lot of who cares about this film. And yeah, I mean, this is finally done, and this is finally done. So yeah, that is all. And as always, if you have any comments, or what have you, leave it down below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And that is it for this movie review for Mockingjay Part 2. Out!